Now, when it comes to lab testing and quality control, you are responsible, so make sure you're an expert in your target market. We are going to give you guidance on what to expect and what regulations you might need and where to find them, the sources of information, where to find them. But it is important to get a third-party lab testing if in any way you're uncertain that some of the elements you might be using might not conform to the country that you are looking to sell in. So even though it's not mandatory, it's going to give you confidence in the compliance, knowing that you're conforming to the relevant standards and regulations in the import country. So do double check those, but as I said, we'll go into more detail in depth in the course. Now back to the smart Wi-Fi socket. When you're carrying out the lab test, as mentioned, we can provide you with quotations, and I'll show you on the next screen. Usually the process is to submit the application. So you send them the product specification basically, and you say this is the test that we need, or usually they might be able to advise you on the tests that are commonly needed depending on your product. So wait for the quotation and the testing details that they'll send back to you. If you're happy with it, then you agree it and you send them the batch samplings from your initial batch and you pay the lab test fee. Then it'll begin, where it usually takes a couple of weeks. So again, allow this into your time scale, but when you receive the results, it's going to have a pass or a fail. So it will tell you if there's any, or the percentage that might fail the test, if it needs a retest, for example. If they actually go along and test the products on the production line, they'll give you, for example, a certain pass or fail rate, but this is usually after the main batch production has been finished. That will be when you actually have the percentage defect rate. This could be carried out after you've imported your product to your country, but it's much better to do it before it leaves the destination country. Otherwise, it's harder to rectify later on. Again, this comes down to negotiation, and basically in the contract we've given some sample ideas for you to use and different options that you can use, and they would need to be negotiated with your supplier, which is actually another service that we provide. If you need one of our Chinese language experts or Chinese experts who commonly do this, speaking in Chinese to the suppliers in Chinese, which is often something they prefer because it's easier to speak in their native language, we can actually get some fantastic results for you with the negotiation process itself. If you pass, then you'll get the certification and reports that are issued. You've got to keep these in a safe place because you might need them later on. If it fails, it's going to tell you the revisions that are noticed and notify you of them, and let you know that you're probably going to need a retest. So the retest again needs to be confirmed in the contract. You're going to say, okay, if there's a percentage of defect, we are going to need a retest. So the supplier will expect this anyway. But you allow 2 to 6 weeks, depending on your product, for the lab testing part of the process. Just to show you quickly here, within your profile, we have the lab testing button there, so you can be able to fill in the fields and you can actually book a lab testing or a quality control quotation. So these will generally just be quotations for you to use as a benchmark, and if you'd like to go ahead with us, we will have a discount from the companies, our sort of preferred certification agents, which are the larger ones. So they are fully experienced in what they do, and we've worked with them before, and they do give us a discount. We're not particularly affiliated to any of them. We work with all of them, so we can provide multiple quotations usually for you to decide. It's not just usually one quotation. We can give you different quotations. They might have different timescales, etc. But as I said, you can use it as a benchmark. Use your own quotations as well. I definitely urge you to get your own quotations. But if you would like to use one of ours, it's probably going to end up being lower cost to you, which is nice.